And I see a whole army of my countrymen here in defiance of tyranny. You've come to fight as free men. And free men you are. What will you do without freedom?
You have come to trade as free men, and free men you are. Welcome to Market Makers, everybody. Your home for tomorrow's TA today. Everything the media has been telling you has been wrong. FinTwit, wrong. YouTube, wrong. If you guys are watching people that did not give you the top, remember Q4 last year, I told you we're getting a Q1 top, and then they all missed the drop, and they have all missed the largest rally in a generational rally. We're going to go over all of the data here today. It's an important show. Going to focus on the key assets, S&P futures, NASDAQ futures, Bitcoin. And if we have time, we will jump into gold as well. Give me a follow at X at Market Canary. I would love to see all of you on the Discord. Visit our website, marketmakers.trade. It's pinned in the comments and it's in my bio as well. If you want to trade these markets, guys, check out our fantastic sponsors. They keep the lights on. They keep Lee paid. That is Bitunix and SimpleFX. All those details will be pinned as well. Let's jump into this. What are you seeing on my screen right now, guys? You are seeing the pattern everybody is showing you on FinTwit, on YouTube, and in the media. A giant head and shoulders pattern. They are wrong. That's not what this pattern is. Let's go ahead and delete this so I can show you how they are wrong. Delete these because you don't need these. This is the pattern that you're going to get here in the marketplace. You are going to get this big W reversal, right? The big W reversal is what you're going to get. You're going to come back down to some level and then you're going to blow off. You're going to blow off to one of our two targets. 7,000 is my base case, bullish case 7,500, slightly less bullish case 6,500. That's the base case of where we are going. We can examine this with Fibonacci as well. We're going to look at this on the daily time frames. There's that 7,000, boom, right there. So let's look at this. We know that July coming up is a pivotal move in the marketplace, right? Why is it a pivotal move? It's a pivotal move because look at your cycle so far since 2023. 2023, you got a July top, late July. July 26, you retraced 11%. These are 3-day candles. And then July 2024. So we know a big top and a retracement is most likely in July. Hence, been saying for months, the summer rally. Will it be the blow-off rally? That I don't know. That might happen in the fall. We have to see the acceleration into price and into these levels, okay? So we know a key pivot's coming up. And what we have now is we're getting very, very close to a new all-time high. So we're going to examine that on the daily time frame. But look at the metrics of what happened here, guys. We retraced perfectly within $2 to the 50%, right? Got $2 below the 50% retracement. And do you guys remember we talked about the Zweig breath thrust, meaning the Zweig breath thrust. Well, actually, we have a video on this because it'd be better than explaining it to you. Lee, cue up the video. We'll talk about it on the other side.
I am super pumped on the Zweig breath thrust. This means that if you see positive breath going from 40% to 62% over a 10-day period on the NYSE, 6 months out, you get a gain, a double-digit gain. 12 months out, an even bigger double-digit gain. I think the average is 24%. And we've only listed a few of the occasions here. This signal has been triggered 19 times since World War II, and the market has finished up 6 months out and 12 months out each of those 19 times. So, Katie, it's 100% for the Zweig breath thrust.
The Zweig breath thrust has only triggered 19 times since World War II. What is the average gain all 19 times? And it hasn't triggered in something like 20, 25 years. The average gain is 24%. You're up 24% off of the low. Okay, so understand that the data in the market matters, just like all the recessionary triggers. that have triggered, like the unemployment rule, it matters. And when it plays out over and over again with a 100% track rate, then this is how you can help form your narrative of what's happening in the marketplace. So this is what I think is happening on the 3-day chart. Let's go ahead and look at this on the daily, because on the daily, this is my pathway, right? This is the pathway we're talking about, the possibilities of what could happen. Here's your 200. You're above the 200. This is at 59.75. Moody's just downgraded our credit. They did it at, I think, like 4:45, so like 4:45 after the market closed. Market sold off some in futures that last 10, 15 minutes of the day. But I want to show you some key things here. So where are we now? We got above a 200. I'm looking for some type of pullback. Now, Steve Cohen, Paul Tudor Jones, they all think the market's going to collapse. I don't think it's there yet. I think retail is smarter than big dumb money, right? Small dumb money will have its day. And that's what we're doing right now, our time in the sun. Big dumb money missed the rally, and now they're all shit talking the market. Same with the YouTubers that missed the rally, blaming Trump for this, blaming Besant for this, whatever. You missed it. The market is never wrong. The only person that's wrong is yourself, right? The market is never wrong. So what I think is going to happen is we get our pullback and then that July top. Now, this pathway here into late July could go into August, but this pathway here, this depends on the acceleration after the pullback, right? Because remember, for a blow off top, you have to have a very powerful move like we're going through now in a condensed time frame. And .com, it was a 21% move in 3 weeks, right? So if we just grind up, I think we're going to get to that 6,500 level by July, late July, early August, whatever. Could happen as soon as June if that's the blow off late June, right? So we know that we're going to get this summer rally. I think we get the 6,500. I think we put in an 8 to 10% retracement. And then if that's the case, the blow off top, there's that 7K target. There's a 7,500 target. That would be your fall equinox, late September into October, if it plays out this way. This could be your blow off top just as easily. It all depends on the rapid acceleration if we get that going into the top, okay? So let's look at ES on the daily. As you guys know, if you follow me on X, I tweeted this out earlier in the week. My ABC before price got there, right? 59.59 and price got there. This is an 8-hour chart, so you could actually see price got above and came back down. That's target one. Okay, that's target one of the ABC. What does that mean? Just like Bitcoin, which we're going to cover here in a moment, but just like Bitcoin, if you can flip this, the 1618, get above 59.59, what other assets doing this right now, right? Bitcoin. If you can flip this, get above it and accumulate, that can take you up to 62.25, which is the second target based off the Fisher ABC, okay? That's a new all-time high, guys. And you know what? I tweeted out, we talked about in the Discord, I took profits. As you guys know, I was long Solana. It was up almost 100%. I was long Tesla, up over 60% off the lows. I had multiple buys on Tesla at the lows and then on an additional add on a breakout trade above 280. I took those profits because profitable trading is not about nailing the exact top and bottom. I don't know that we're going to get this move. We could easily start correcting underneath 59.59, and that's the pullback, right? So I'm taking my winners off the table and on to the next trade. But these are the possibilities that could happen. You need to watch 59.59 if you can flip it and get above it. When we look at this on our volume delta here, this trend is confirmed. It is a strong positive volume delta trend. This is my volume delta indicator that I created, by the way. If you guys want, I'm going to probably make a tutorial video of how to use it, and I'll make this one public. We have a lot of indicators on marketmakers.trade, which is only for members, but I might make this one public. You guys tell me if you want it. It's an awesome indicator. And when we look at this again, guys, this is what you need to understand. For this to totally collapse, you would have to have a massive shift in sentiment. Right now, 85% of all assets in the S&P 500 are above the 50-day. We've gone as high as into the low 90s in this market cycle. So we could flip this. I don't know how the Moody's thing, how the market's going to take that. They're going to try to sell it back down. We shall see, but you will get your corrective pullback in my base case, and then you will get your blow off top. But for right now, you want to watch what's the key psychological level? 6,000, right? 6,000 is a key psychological level. You got all the way up to 59.77. So watch what happens here Sunday night futures into Monday. We'll see if we get one more push up. If we do get a push up, can we hold above 59.59? Because again, that would be bullish to break out to the upside. And Bitcoin has been leading this, but we're going to look at the NASDAQ first. So when we look at the NASDAQ, again, this is the pattern everybody's telling you about, right? The head and shoulders. And what's the NASDAQ doing? 31% off of the low. Guys, to make you understand this, you hear about the 10 best days in the market, right? Steve Cohen, Paul Tudor Jones, most of YouTube, all these people, FinTwit, that missed this rally. The last 2 years in the S&P, it's returned north of 20%. If you missed the 10 best days, you only got 3% out of the 20+%. That's all you got was 3%. This has been the second or the strongest rally in a generation, one of the strongest moves ever in the indices, and most people missed it. So they're bitter. Understand people's biases when they're talking about things. Now, this looks more like a head and shoulders here, but again, I don't think that's how this is going to play out, guys. Let me show you how this is going to play out. Just like you have on the S&P, this is NASDAQ futures. It's going to play out like this. We're going to come up to our level. We're going to pull back. Maybe a deep pullback there at 19.4, back at that base. I don't think personally it's going to go that deep, but if it does, this is our targets to the upside on the NASDAQ. Almost 26K and 28K, okay? 26 and 28K. You're going to end up making a W. The market does this all the time. The problem is most people don't understand these patterns that trade these markets. They don't understand market geometry. It requires studying, understanding the market maps. I had a couple people say to me, man, there's a couple channels saying you shouldn't trade right now. It's just too volatile. Right? It's just too volatile to trade right now because most people just trade with like a moving average. And they're like, oh, if I'm below the moving average, I'm bearish. And that's most of YouTube, guys. Being on YouTube, talking about being bullish or bearish when you're in a defined trend is easy. You separate the wheat from the chaff when you have volatility. And what I would say to those people that say they can't trade when it's volatile, I would say, trade and your account may blow up. Don't trade and you'll live.
And dying in your beds many years from now, would you be willing to trade all the days from this day to that for one chance, just one chance, to come back here and tell our enemies that they may take our lives, but they'll never take our freedom?
I'm leaning hard into Braveheart. What a fantastic movie. Most of the great movies came out in the 90s and early 2000s, in my opinion. What a fantastic movie. But all right, so this is what I'm seeing here on the NASDAQ, guys. We'll go over retracement levels once we get to a top. But what I want to show you here on the daily, because this is what's important on the daily, is the levels that we're hitting. Here's our Fisher ABC. And again, you can learn all these patterns on marketmakers.trade. Come join the Discord. I teach, if you guys only learn 3 patterns, learn the Fisher ABC, learn the W fractal, learn the M fractal. It will change your trading life. It did for me, allowed me to retire. But this is where we're at right now. We got above the 1618. You're going to see this on Bitcoin, right? So maybe I should start it with Bitcoin, but you're going to see this on Bitcoin. Look at this. You're above the 1618. You hit 21,522 already. If you can hold this level, you can come up to your expansionary target, 22,304. And guess what? That's a new all-time high. Now, can it do that? I don't know. This is a lot of resistance. If you guys, again, follow me on X or you're in the Discord, we've been talking about this. This is a lot of resistance where you are right in here. How do you know that? Look to your left. You built that distribution top up here, okay? So this could potentially be volatile. We'll see if you can actually hold this level, break out above this level, and a guide will also be what the S&P does. Can the S&P flip 59.59 in S&P futures. If it does, they both can hit their expansionary targets and come up. And what would this mean, by the way, if NASDAQ futures and S&P futures can hold their key support levels? For the S&P, it has to flip the resistance. But if NASDAQ can hold the key support level, what does this mean for brother Bitcoin? Guys, you guys have seen this chart now. I don't know how long we've been talking about it. It feels like a year. Has it been a year? One of you guys in the comments, I'm sure, will tell me. The 3 peaks in a domed house, George Lindsay pattern. Peak 1, peak 2, peak 3. I went ahead and used the tool so you could see this more clearly, but look how it's tracking. The domed house is nothing more than head and shoulders of 5-wave patterns. These are 3-day candles, okay? What we were looking for, if the markets pull back, we're in that topping area. If we can't flip key resistance and hold it, if we pull back, what we're looking for is that pullback, that acceleration, your W fractal into the 132 to 145 range. And this is nothing more on a 3-day chart than a large W fractal. But I'm going to show you this on the daily because it's really interesting what's happening on the daily. Just like you're seeing on the NASDAQ, right? You're above the 786 here on Bitcoin. There's a couple patterns at play here. You're above the 786. Look at your defined range, 105.8 and 106.93. Now watch Bitcoin. If you're watching this on Sunday, watch Bitcoin because Bitcoin has been leading the market. Okay, I told you it's my market barometer. There's a couple different patterns at play here. I want to show you this. You guys are familiar. You've heard me say this many times. 3 waves to a top, 3 waves to a bottom. Okay, this is a geometry pattern, market geometry pattern. Wave 1, wave 2, wave 3. Here's your wave 1, consolidation, wave 2, consolidation, 3 waves to a top. Now let's look at a couple of things here because Bitcoin likes to throw these false break double tops quite often. You did it right here. There's your top at first top at 108,375. Before you came to our target of 109, you threw that first top, right? And then you have, this is about a 1.5% increase. You sell off, you have this 1.5% increase. You could see the same thing again. If Bitcoin comes up to this new high, guys, and this is what I'm looking at here, this 110 to 115 range. If it holds this range above 100K, comes up to 110, 115, it changes some of the ratios for the retracement, which is why I don't want to focus on that right now. I want to focus on this because I think, let me just draw this. This will be easier to explain. Where is that pathway tool? There it is, path. Okay, I'll draw this. You guys can see this, right? So here's what I'm looking at. We have our wave up, right? Wave down. Tight accumulation range. Wave up. So far, tight accumulation range. Wave down. Then we have our wave back up. This is what I'm looking at here in this range. If we come up into this box that I drew, 110, 115, it completes a harmonic pattern, a market geometry pattern, 3 waves to a top. You could also get a 5 count out of there, 5-wave fractal. But this also gives you, if you look at these measurements, again, this is about a 1.5% move from top to top. If you come up about 1.5%, this gives you that 110 range, right? 111, 113, all the way up to like a 4% move. So this is a possibility, and this is what's cooking right now. When I look at Bitcoin, I look at the money flow, it's still staying bullish. I look at my volume delta, you're still staying bullish. You're in this tight range. Bitcoin trades 24/7, unlike the markets, including the weekends. You're still holding this tight range. If you can hold this tight range and come up, watch 110 to 115K. And if it does that move, you could see the markets also continue to move up. And you're seeing that in the NASDAQ already. Why? Because Bitcoin is beta to the NASDAQ. It moves at a 2 to 2.5 ratio to the NASDAQ up and down. So this is very important to watch this move on Bitcoin to see if we get it. 110 to 115, you need to break 105, right? 105.8. If you can break that, break above it, you're going to 110, 115. And then when you zoom out and squish it together, it is that big W top, double top that everybody's going to talk about. Look at the Bitcoin double top, all the guys that are super bearish. But just like the other assets, guys, let me get this off of here. Actually, I'm going to leave it on so I can draw this. Just like the other assets, you're going to get a W fractal out of this pullback, okay? This is how the markets are going to blow off, in my opinion. If we get this move, let's just draw it up here, or we could even do it from here because you could pull back from here, right? Doesn't matter. So you get this move, you're going to get that pullback. And right now, 92K to 200, all the way to this cluster down here, 96. That's where I'd be looking on Bitcoin if we get some type of retracement. But overall, this is bullish and it's going up and it hits those targets 132 to 145. That's Bitcoin. Zoomed out, looks like that. 3 peaks, domed house. Let's look at gold real quick. Gold, as you guys know, made a video on it. Don't want to spend too much time on it. It's playing out to a T. I gave you the parabolic cycle. We hit the cycle top within $40. And since then we've fallen, I think what, 11%? Normally in that cycle, going back 25 years, the average retracement is 20%, but I don't think gold's done yet retracing. And the reason I say that is just like I said in my updates I've been giving you guys on the video and on X, money flows out of gold when the market gets bullish. So if the market continues up, I expect gold to continue to chop a little bit here. But once we trigger that pullback, guys, when we get that pullback, I think what's going to happen here in gold is gold's going to rise, right? Because people are going to buy gold again. The market's pulling back. And if you believe the media, which a lot of people do, it's going to crash. It's going to take out the low. So I think gold will rise. The level you want to watch is 3,300 to 3,350 on gold futures, okay? And then when the market bottoms and proceeds to mega rally once again into a blow off top, gold's going to complete this. Your ABC turns into a 5-way fractal. That target was $3,000 at the 1618, 2,900 at the 200% expansion, and that's the gold move. And if it completes either of these moves, if we go to the 1618, that takes you down 13, almost 14%. And then this takes you down 17% at the 200%. I think that's the short-term pathway for gold. Like, subscribe, follow me on X. Hope to see you guys at marketmakers.trade on our Discord. Check out our sponsors. See you guys on the next update.
Now, our people know you. Noble and common, they respect you. And if you would just lead them to freedom, they'd follow you. And so would I.